Has your head been spinning from all of this COVID talk lately? Well, today we're going to meet someone who's been hitting all of our headlines on the news, and we're going to pick his brain. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm your host, LJ, and I have Dr. Russell Surasky here, who's been making headlines, and he is a board-certified neurologist, which is why I said we're going to pick his brain, and also a board-certified addiction specialist. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm happy to actually have you here because I've been seeing you on the news. Every time I change the channel, that's where you are. So we're finally meeting in person. And you're here for a very important topic because I know, myself included, want a lot of answers about COVID. I mean, it's going on almost a year, right? And it's been a little crazy. A lot of things are happening. We're hearing about a possible lockdown again. We're in fear. We just don't know what's going on. And I know you are very knowledgeable and have a lot of education. So I'm actually really happy that you're here. And I just figured we'd just start from the beginning. I mean, several months ago, did you think we would be where we are right now?
Well, yes and no. Actually, I can tell you that very definitively, and I haven't missed one day with patients day in and day out since the pandemic hit.
Wow.
And I can say that the real true pandemic is the fear that's really being promoted by the media and the lockdowns, which are hurting so many people in so many different aspects of society, not just with mental health, but also about things such as drug addiction and also general medical care. For example, there's a 40% increase in drug overdoses just in the past few months in the tri-state area. Wow. About 50% of college-age students have recently reported that they have contemplated suicide, and about 50% of people have missed their annual cancer screenings. And those cancers aren't just going away. They're just going to be detected later at more advanced stages. So, in fact, I think it's just as much the perception of fear about the virus as it is the actual virus.
Right, that's absolutely true and so important. And I mean, I admire the fact that you're going in, you're an essential worker, because mental health is extremely important. Addiction, and you're right, doctor's appointments, it's really hard when we miss certain things, surgeries that are being put off, and the list goes on and on. So I know, that's amazing with all the statistics and stuff like that, but I know a lot of us have questions as far as this is going to get better, we're going to have lockdowns. I mean, I know that schools are closed, and what are your thoughts on schools being closed and the fear of COVID?
Well, I don't think there's a single issue that affects more American families than kids being back in school. And I believe the science is very definitive that children need to be back in school now, full time. There's tremendous harm to children who are not in school. We know this, and far more reaching than just education. And they face very little risk. And so, for example, one study recently showed that about 200,000 cases of child abuse were likely missed just from the spring lockdowns alone. Kids receive nutrition from schools. There's so many things aside from just, what would immediately come to mind about them having missing their education. So I believe that kids absolutely need to be back in school, and the science does show this.
And how has this affected your patients? I mean, you're still working, you're going into work every day. I mean, are you having more patients? Are you treating the patients that you have? How has this affected addiction? Because I know you're specialized in that as well.
Sure. Well, not showing up to be there with my patients in person was never an option. Individuals suffering with mental health or addiction often need that level of care. And in fact, more specifically, a lot of our latest treatments for mental health and addiction are actually given by injections. And so we can't simply say, oh, well, we'll get you come back in when COVID is over. We're, like, as you mentioned, almost, getting to a year now of these lockdowns, and too many people would be hurt and are getting hurt from this. So it's telemedicine, one of the good things that has come out of this is that insurance companies have opened the gates to reimburse telemedicine, which helps providers like physicians and nurses to be able to reach people who otherwise wouldn't be able to get to see them. And so that is available via multiple different platforms, even from a cell phone or a computer. Anyone can reach a specialist if they need. But for me personally, I need to be with my patients. So
yeah, absolutely. And no guilt in that. I actually see someone right now via Zoom, telemedicine, and I think it's really helpful, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, there's so many times that we're just not sure what's going on, and it's uncomfortable. We don't know what to expect, and we all have a lot going on, whether it's addiction, any type of illness. Our mental health is important. So just like you would go to a doctor because you're not feeling well, I think it's very important to see a doctor, you know, just for your own being, just to talk to somebody, because a lot of the times we do have fear, and it's fear of the unknown. What's going to happen tomorrow? Are things going to get worse? It's just natural, you know, where our mind goes to. I'm just curious, have you seen relapses? A lot of relapses?
Unfortunately, yes, because a lot of the healthy structure and coping mechanisms for people in recovery have been taken away because of the lockdowns. So when you take away, you know, for example, when you close down houses of worship, churches, temples, what goes along with that is also 12-step meetings, which help countless people keep their sobriety. We also see gyms closing, you know, physical exercise, helping people stay healthy mentally and physically were shut down. People lost their jobs, financial stress. So all of those critical life aspects to structure of people's lives who depend on that for their recovery have been taken away. So it really was a recipe for disaster. And to add fuel to the fire, liquor stores were deemed essential. And I think that comes from the recognition, perhaps by politicians, that, hey, this is going to be, what we're doing right now to society is going to create a lot of problems, and quite frankly, we're worried about all the people with addiction, and we're going to leave these liquor stores open, and we're going to have a mess on our hands.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's been brutal. Like, as I mentioned, 40% increase in opiate overdoses in the tri-state area. We were already at 150 people overdosing a day from the opiate crisis. It was a national emergency before this pandemic even hit. And now we don't hear so much about it because of COVID, but it's still there.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, I want to let our audience know that you do have some hope for us and some positivity and how you see things turning around from now and throughout the new year.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration.
And welcome back. We're here with Dr. Russell Surasky, who's giving us some amazing tips for everything that we're facing right now with COVID, which is just constantly, you know, in the news. I keep seeing your face on the news. But I'm just so happy that you're here. And I know we all want more answers, right? And I know you've given us a lot of statistics. You have so much knowledge, and just appreciate all that you do. You're an essential worker. You're going in, you're trying to help your patients with addiction and mental health. And I know that a lot of questions that we have is, here we are, we're facing the winter, you know, where the flu's more likely, COVID, there's no vaccine. And I think a lot of us want to know, what can we seem to face, or what are we going to be facing in the next few months with the winter? Let's start there. You know, what's coming up right now? What do you see right now?
Well, you know, again, actually, I'm extremely optimistic, and I believe everyone else should be. And you don't have to take my word for it. In fact, the world's greatest researchers, epidemiologists, and infectious disease doctors like Dr. Yee at Harvard and Oxford have recently put out reports that say that we can very safely protect the vulnerable, the very elderly, and those with multiple medical issues, while letting society go back. And by doing that, it helps create that herd immunity we were discussing. And ultimately, that's what will protect the more vulnerable later on. The vaccines, all the data is not out, but they look to be safe and effective. And hopefully all the data continues to confirm that. And that, combined with the natural immunity in the population, I think will continue to allow us to open up and eventually go back to, dare I say it, normal.
Okay. Well, I would love to see that day. I know we all do. And is it that if patients, I'm not sure if you have the answer to this, but if patients have COVID or exposed to COVID, can they get the illness again?
we're still learning as we go. As you've probably seen, the CDC, the WHO, they put up recommendations and take them down almost on a daily basis at this point. We don't know exactly how long antibodies to COVID remain active.
Right.
You know, it's really at this point just hypotheticals, and we just don't have the data to back it up. What you don't see on the news is that roughly, if you're under the age of 50, you have a 99.5% chance of recovery from this virus. And even if you're over 70, it's still about 95% chance of recovery. And in school-aged children, the flu is more dangerous than COVID. So when you don't have that perspective and all you see is case numbers, which, by the way, is the number can never go down when you're looking at case numbers, because when somebody recovers, it's not as if they take that off the list. So this ever-expanding list is very scary to people, and I wish that the media would do a better job at giving more context and less fear.
All right. No, I totally agree. I think the media kind of, sometimes things, you see it, it's true. It seems it's worse than it seems, or maybe we're not getting the whole story. So I know I've had a lot of questions, and I think thank you so much, because I feel like you've answered a lot and brought a lot of clarity to the situation. But I mean, what else would you, maybe I'm missing something here, but what else would you want to add or share about the situation?
The best epidemiologists and infectious disease doctors in the world are saying that we will save lives if we can protect the vulnerable, those who are over the age of 75 and have multiple medical issues, while still allowing everything else to go back. And if we do that, we can protect everybody actually through the herd immunity system. And so I think that is what's going to happen, and the science will continue to show us. And as we get more and more information, that's the direction we're going to move in. I strongly believe that.
Okay, so definitely a positive 2021, different than 2020.
I truly believe that.
Okay, well, that's a relief, and I'm sure a lot of us who are watching are relieved to hear that as well. And I want to get back to the mental health and the addiction part. So I know you're awesome. You're keeping your facility. I believe you have your private practice, and you're also you also work outpatient in a facility. Now, is that facility open again?
Yes, we've never closed. We've been fully open. Addiction, as you know, is a life and death issue. And at this point, the epidemic of addiction has reached epic proportions. Everybody is just about 1 degree of separation from addiction. If you yourself are not affected by it, then somebody very close to you is. And right now, especially with the opiate epidemic, with fentanyl flooding our streets and being mixed with these opiates on the street, these painkillers, every time somebody relapses, it's a life and death situation. So we are fully open. We haven't missed any time with our patients. We need to be there. As I mentioned, we have some phenomenal new medicines that much of the public is not aware of, and many of them are injectables. So we can't simply say we'll see you guys later next month, and hopefully the CDC will have different recommendations. We have to weigh the benefits and the risks to our patients as far as coming in to get treated, and on almost all situations, getting treatment for their addiction in our patients outweighs the risk of them possibly or theoretically being exposed to COVID. So we march forward.
All right. I have a question. As people who have never used in the past, I mean, have you seen more increase in new, users or new studies in addiction due to COVID?
Yes, right now in the U.S., every day 4,000 people try opiate painkillers for non-medical purposes. That's new individuals, and 600 people are trying heroin for the first time every day in the United States.
That's awful. And you said there was also some new treatments coming out for addiction. I would love for you to share some more about that.
Absolutely. So we have some phenomenal treatments that are available that most people are not aware of. Highly successful treatments for opiate addiction and alcohol addiction that are currently being used that were not previously available or covered by insurance, and now they are. So one in particular that I think is worth mentioning, just because of how successful it is something called Vivitrol. And Vivitrol is a medicine which helps to, we've learned so much about the region of the brain of where addiction happens. We no longer think of addiction as a mental illness or a moral failing. We know which area of the brain is getting hijacked by certain drugs, and why people seem to get stuck mired down in addiction while their life is spiraling out of control. And so born from that knowledge, we have new treatments like Vivitrol. And what this medicine does is it goes to the area of the brain which has been hijacked by these drugs, stops the cravings, blocks drugs from entering, and helps that person get back on their feet with a counseling program. These are non-addictive drugs. They are not habit-forming. It's really truly a big step in the right direction. But not a lot of people know that they exist. And so if you or a loved one is suffering with addiction and you want to learn more, there are plenty of resources where you can find doctors who are trained to use these medicines or rehabs that also use these treatments.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. Do you also feel that one day there's going to be, the numbers in addiction are going to be way, way less with all these new treatments and technology?
I do.
I know we'll never really see it go away, I don't believe, but do you feel that we will reach a point?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a multi-pronged approach to helping to curb the epidemic of addiction, but we are making tremendous advances, and it's not just on the treatment side, it's also stopping the drugs from pouring into our country, and so that also becomes a big part of this, fixing this problem. So it's not just on the treatment side, but we have made tremendous advances on the treatment side.
But what are some ways that you feel that people from a young age can learn not to do drugs?
Well, I think it's not like it's one thing that gets done that stops that from happening. A lot of it has to do with people, places, and things, and what that person surrounds themselves with as they're growing up through middle school and through the high school years, which are critical. The brain is continually developing up until the age of 23 years old. We know the statistics overwhelmingly show that if drugs are used at younger ages, it's much more likely that addiction can take control easier for that person than if they later in life. So it's very critical to try to help school-age children, middle school, high school, to stay away from drugs, even things like marijuana, which I know there's a lot of debate about marijuana in general. But what I can tell you for sure is that if you're under the age of 22, 23, marijuana has some significantly negative consequences to a developing brain. How it affects somebody who's 40 or 50 is different than how it affects someone who's 16.
Wow.
So.
Well, thank you so much for adding that. So at the end of my segment with my guests, I always like to ask for you to give our audience and our viewers just some hope and inspiration, just some final thoughts that you can give to us in regards to COVID. I know you've shared so much positivity and optimism, and I know we appreciate it, but I just want to say if there's anything else that you want to give out there to people struggling with their mental health, worried about COVID doing their second wave, addiction, what final thought can you share with us today?
I'm tremendously optimistic. Everybody should be. We're moving forward. I know the vaccines are coming out. I think that will help people feel better. The perception that things will be safer that is a reality that's coming around the corner. As well as I think we just take basic precautions. We know that if you're very vulnerable, then you take safety precautions. Basically, there's plenty of hope and things are going to get better.
Okay. Dr. Russell, I just want to thank you again for being here because it's extremely important that we take care of our mental health, that we raise awareness for addiction. And I know that you have not stopped since COVID happened. You have gone into work every single day, and that's truly amazing. And I can't tell you what it means to your patients. And now I understand why you make headlines, because you are touching people every single day. And I know that as an essential worker, it's essential that you take care of your mental health and that you take care of yourself too. So a mutual friend of ours actually told me you like to go to the spa. So I want to gift you with some time at the spa for yourself and for you to take care of your mental health and get some rest as well, and just to relax and enjoy as a thank you. So from the LJ Show, rest, relax, and enjoy your day at the spa.
Thank you so much, LJ. It's such a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here today and your knowledge and expertise. And when we get back, it's time for Ask LJ.
Hey, it's me, LJ. I'm only 5 feet, but my journey is huge. Right after marrying my sweetheart, my world suddenly collapsed. I endured multiple back surgeries and rare health conditions, and I saved a life in the process by donating my kidney. I hit rock bottom pretty hard, but now I'm on top. Since then, I've become a minister, a coach, and a medium. And oh yeah, I also wrote a book. Now I'm fulfilling my lifelong dream and hosting my very own talk show, The LJ Show. Join me for stories of hope and inspiration.
We're back, and now it's time for Ask LJ. That's right. It's time to ask LJ. Some of our audience members and viewers sent in their questions, and we're going to see whose question gets answered today. Okay. So the first question that I got is, this is very good. This is from Janie in the live audience today, and it says, do you see people's aura? Very, very good question. So yes, I do. May I ask if Jane can stand up today? She's in the audience. Can we focus on her for a minute?
I'm here.
So do you see people's aura? And I do. Usually when I look at someone and I tune in with their energy, I'm able to see like a little color around them, and I see like yellow or red and green, and I usually get a good vibe from people. So like me, everybody tells me who could see my aura that I'm yellow, just very bubbly, very outgoing. I feel like I keep seeing the color red, so I feel that you got a little bit of a fiery side to you. I feel like you got some energy to you. I also feel that you're unstoppable, that nothing can get you down. That's the feeling that I keep getting. So I do feel your aura, and I do feel red. And I just want to tell you, just based on your aura and the color red, that you are unstoppable. You do have that fiery side of you, and I want you to take it and I want you to run with it and know that you can do anything that you want to do, and your aura is fabulous.
Thank you, LJ.
So the next question that our audience wants to know, it's an anonymous question, and says, what is your favorite way to unwind and recharge? That is a great question. I love to unwind by taking a really nice long bath, ordering some Chinese food, and snuggling up with my dog Chip and my husband and watching a really good movie. And I always love comedy. I always feel that that uplifts me and just helps me to recharge. And on a nice day, going for a walk, and I love going by the beach and the water. And again, bringing some Chinese food with me. So that's always good. And yeah, so just resting and unwinding, basically just doing some of my favorite things and things that make me happy. Thank you. It's time for the Mediumship Twist in my show, where I'm going to be giving some readings and messages to those in the audience. And I want to begin by a female that's stepping forward, and she feels to be very motherly to me. So I do feel this would have been a mother or a grandmother. And I do feel she gives me a little bit of trouble breathing. So I just feel like I have a little bit of heaviness on my chest. I feel trouble breathing. And I do know that she would have had, she would have been a little bit more overweight. She would have been like, don't ever call me overweight. That's the type of attitude that I feel that she would have had. But that is how it is towards the end of her life. I do feel that she would have needed help getting around. She would have needed help, bed care, just a lot of care. She makes me feel that she was someone who was a little temperamental, and I don't know if this was more towards the end of her life because she was not used to having help, or she didn't really want to have help. I felt like she was really independent. But I do feel I want to give a connection to the name Mary, or the M connection. There would be a Mary, whether it was her name or someone close to her, that she would want to acknowledge. You understand this? Okay, perfect. So I do feel like I want to acknowledge Mary. And you understand the temperament connected to her as well. And I do feel like I feel like she was strict, but I do feel like we loosen up a little bit. So I almost feel like growing up we had more rules, and I almost get a sense like we become ill and we kind of be like, why did I stress over that? Why did I act like that? She makes me feel she's like a clean freak, like everything needs to be clean. She keeps showing me the yellow rubber gloves, and everything needed to be clean, and everything had a way, okay? That's the feeling she keeps giving to me. And I also feel like I want to acknowledge the female here, or the mother here. So would this be mom that you're connected to? Is this mom?
My mom's side.
Okay, awesome. And I just feel like I want to be connected to. She makes me feel like she would have made some mistakes. Would you understand what she means by that? So I feel like I take responsibility for some of the mistakes that I made. Could I have been easier? Could I have done things better? This is the feeling that she keeps giving me, okay? So I do feel it's very adamant that she comes through for that as well. She also keeps showing me a birthday cake, so I want to acknowledge a birthday. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I do want to acknowledge that too. And then would there be some grandkids? Because I feel like I want to acknowledge kids. I don't know if one's... Okay, would someone be like 8 right now, or 8, and I feel like I have a boy and I have a girl? I feel like 2 very close in age that I want to acknowledge.
Yeah, there's twins.
Oh, twins. Okay, is one boy and one girl?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's why I'm like, they're really like close in age. They look, one's a boy. Okay, perfect. So I just want to bring that up too. And I feel like she almost keeps giving me the sense, yes, I was hard, but like I did it right. Like, you know, so I feel like maybe we had some, I don't want to say resentment, but we were like, why'd you have to be like that? You know, I almost feel like that. But I feel like there was reasons for it. And now that she's not here, we kind of go, oh, now we understand why she did that. Now we understand why she said that. And then was there also like a candy dish, or did we always have a dish of candy? because I feel like I just right now I'm like, oh, that looks so good. Yes, okay, exactly. And I want to pick the candy, so I just she just keeps showing me the candy. She always would have had candy, and she would have always been sneaking money too. That's the feeling that I keep getting. Or like we would have kept it, but it's weird because I don't just see like regular money. I keep seeing it like it was like in a tissue, or we had hidden money. So would have she had hidden money? Like I almost feel like wrapped up, like I can't see it. This is the feeling I keep getting, like money wrapped up in a tissue. I don't know why I keep seeing it like that, but that's the feeling that she keeps giving. Does that make sense? I don't know why, like I hide it. Maybe she didn't want you to know she had money, or she didn't want you to see the money.
More like it.
Oh, that's more like it? Okay, well, she's still the same character up there, but I do want to tell you that she's definitely loosened up a lot. And, and she takes responsibility for whatever mistakes, but I hope she realized, she says, I did it with love, that I wanted you to learn from it. I wanted to teach you from it. And she just makes me feel that the family's so big, the family's grown, and that just makes her so happy, because I feel like the family's much bigger now after that she's passed. So I feel like we came from a small family, but I'm up there and I see how much my family has grown. I see how big my family is, and I just feel like her arms are just like this, just very open, and just knowing that she's taken you all in and she's still part of everything, okay? So I want to leave her with love and blessings, and thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's time for my favorite part. It's giveaway with LJ. So today we have a special gift, or I should say gifts, for some of our audience members. Is this beautiful candle lantern that you could put on the table, and I like to look at it as thinking of our loved ones and just lighting it in their memory. And let's see here, let's shuffle them up. And our winner is Brittany S. That's me. Congrats. And our next giveaway is from Cheryl James Salon, a beautiful haircut and blowout, and just an awesome day at the hair salon. And the winner is Jane from Connecticut. Congratulations, Jane. And the last giveaway is from Surasky Touchstone Crystal, and I'm actually wearing the necklace, well, not the actual one, that I'm going to be giving away today. It's this beautiful, can you guys see it? It's all bling, it's got LJ written all over it. And this is from actually Suzanne, who does Touchstone. She's actually in our live audience today, so I want to give a big thank you to Suzanne of Touchstone Crystal for doing this beautiful giveaway, a $300 value necklace. So it's absolutely stunning. And we're going to see who's the lucky winner of this beautiful gift. And then we'll be twins. And the winner is Mary Ellen. Congratulations. Thank you so much for tuning into our show today, and I hope that you feel uplifted and have hope and inspiration that there are better and brighter days ahead. A lot of us are struggling, whether it's with our mental health or regular health, and I want you to know that there's a lot of resources and tools out there. So please know that you're not alone. Reach out to somebody. There's amazing telemedicine, as was brought up earlier, and just knowing that you will get through these difficult times, and even though it's winter, the sunshine is around the corner. So reach out to somebody, check on your elderly, check on your family. Although we're in times right now that maybe we can't see each other every day or as much as we used to, a telephone call goes a long way, or maybe even sending a little card in the mail just to let them know that you are thinking about them. So again, just know that you're not alone. Reach out, and I hope that you know that love and light is on the way. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm LJ. Love and blessings. Until next time.